Welcome to the gaming news of the week. First up this week, we have some news from Creative Assembly. Creative Assembly, the team behind the Total War series, is reportedly working on a new Star Wars game. This information is coming from the website DualShockers, which reports that the studio is working on 3 Total War games, one of which is set in the Star Wars universe. Although they are unaware of how far along the development of the game is, they suggest that given the current annual release date of the Total War series, the title will likely arrive within the next 2 years. Despite the studio's excellent catalog, which belongs to Sega, their recent projects have faced various complications. Total War Pharaoh did not receive a warm reception at the end of 2023, especially from players, and the announced DLC for both this title and Total War Warhammer 3 provoked criticism to the point that Creative Assembly had to commit to offering free content and expanding the DLC, something they have recently done in Total War Warhammer 3. Additionally, the studio's last project outside of the Total War series, the extraction shooter Hyenas, ended up being cancelled. After the cancellation of that game, Creative Assembly stated that they would focus on strategy games. Needless to say, this is still an exciting title that we will be keeping a lookout for. Next up is some news about the Ghost of Tsushima PC launch. Ghost of Tsushima, the Director's Cut, has become the second biggest PlayStation launch ever on Steam. The critically acclaimed title by Sucker Punch was released on May 16th for Steam and the Epic Games Store, handled by Nixxes Software, a Sony-owned studio responsible for porting Horizon Forbidden West, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, and many more titles. Jin Sakai's Adventure stands as the most played solo Sony PlayStation game on Steam, surpassing God of War and Marvel Spider-Man in its field. After years of exclusivity, the Director's Cut finally arrived on computers with the base game, the Iki Island expansion, and its multiplayer mode Legends. Unsurprisingly, Helldivers 2 is still the most popular PlayStation launch on Steam by a large margin, although the Samurai game by Sucker Punch has had a good reception at its launch. Released on May 16th with the unmistakable mark of Nixxes, thanks to the Steam database, we can see that its concurrent player peak was 76,000 users. To put that data into perspective, it's worth noting that it surpassed the 73,000 concurrent users of God of War and the 66,000 concurrent players of Marvel Spider-Man Remastered. All in all, it's safe to say that it was a massive success. Next up, we have some news about Black Myth Wukong. Game Science has released a new trailer for Black Myth Wukong, a promising Souls-like that has been in development for several years and will finally be in our hands from August 20th of this year. This new footage showcases bosses, enemies, and action sequences never before seen in previous trailers, featuring very fluid gameplay and stunning visual elements. The release date for this title was revealed last year at the Game Awards, and now there is new content that will leave you in awe. It's not the first time Black Myth Wukong has given users a preview, as some time ago, an 18-minute gameplay video showcased many details about what this new and challenging game science title has to offer. The new trailer was presented at the Wii Game event. This new preview of the game is about 2 minutes long, and you can still see some interesting details. There is no doubt that the novel Journey to the West attracts a lot of attention from users, and being able to enjoy a game that narrates Wukong's adventures with the quality offered by this one has not gone unnoticed. Us personally plan to be very attentive to see everything this Monkey King game has to offer. After all, the story of Wukong has inspired some great creations throughout history. For example, Dragon Ball is inspired by this character and has become a global reference over time. Who knows, maybe this game will become one of the best this year. Next up, we have some more news about Shadow of the Erdtree. Bandai Namco and From Software have released a new trailer for Shadow of the Erdtree, the expansion DLC for Elden Ring, just 1 month before its launch on June 21st. The new trailer appears to emphasize what Hidetaka Miyazaki has already promised. In terms of volume, ambition, and content, it is described as the largest DLC ever produced by the studio. This trailer is dedicated exclusively to the story of the DLC, and it is as cryptic as one would expect from Software's narratives. The trailer shows a war, which the main game did not cover in its story, and mentions key characters like Mikola and Mesmer. While it was already known that the DLC would take place in a new setting, the Land of Shadow, it is currently unclear if the war-torn land in the trailer is the area where the expansion will take place. Focusing on the story, the trailer did not reveal any new enemies or new weapons, although the game's official social media has been sharing images of bosses and enemies from Shadow of the Erdtree in recent weeks. It has also been stated that it will be necessary to have defeated Radahn and Mog to access the content. The entry point, or one of the first steps at least, is likely related to the cocoon of Mikola that can be found in Mogwyn Palace. Therefore, if we haven't reached that point in our game yet, you will need to make sure to do so beforehand. The DLC will be accessible in both the first playthrough or in New Game Plus. Next up is some news about The Witcher 3. 9 years after releasing The Witcher 3, CD Projekt Red has released the RedKit, a mod editor based on the game's engine. The tool is available for free for PC via Steam, GOG, and Epic Games Store. Developed and implemented by Yiksoft in close collaboration with the CD Projekt Red team, The Witcher 3 RedKit offers a multitude of advanced features, as well as full integration with Steam Workshop, making it easy for both creators and casual players to publish and use mods. As a reused, reworked, and expanded codebase of Red Engine 3, it provides modders with unparalleled freedom to create new quests, characters, locations, and more. The release was accompanied by a trailer showcasing some of the modification possibilities contained in the tool, as well as an overview of its main features. The Witcher 3 RedKit is free for all owners of The Witcher 3 on PC, and can now be downloaded from GOG, Steam, and Epic Game Store. To help modders utilize the tool's numerous functionalities, CD Projekt Red also released comprehensive documentation that includes tutorials on initial setup, an overview of basic features, a growing collection of practical tutorials, a guide for publishing mods, and much more. Moving on, we have some news about Larian Studios. Larian Studios continues to expand following the success of Baldur's Gate 3. Recognized as one of the most outstanding games of recent years at major industry award ceremonies like the Game Awards and the British Academy Awards. The Belgian studio, founded in 1996, recently announced the opening of a new division in Warsaw, and already has several job openings to bring in new talent. In addition to this latest office, the company already has a presence in various parts of the world, such as in Ghent, Barcelona, Dublin, Guildford, Quebec, and Kuala Lumpur. As for its future, the company is currently developing 2 projects with their own IP, unlike Baldur's Gate 3, which was based on the external Dungeons & Dragons license. Additionally, Sven Vink, the company's CEO, confirmed earlier this year that he has finished writing the first act of the company's next game. Regarding the role of the studio, it's difficult to draw conclusions due to the lack of details. The job openings available on Larian Studios' official website include positions we would expect from a company specialized in RPG development: expert RPG designers, writers, producers, and various types of programmers. The only thing that seems clear from looking at these positions is that Larian Studios will entrust vital tasks to this new branch in Poland. In this way, the company presents a contrast to the layoffs and instability crisis currently affecting the video game industry. Next up is some surprising news about Biomutant. Biomutant smashed sales expectations in Japan thanks to the Nintendo Switch. Developed by Experiment 101 and published by THQ Nordic, Biomutant was only on PC, Steam, PS4, PS5, and Xbox until it came to Nintendo Switch recently. But THQ is happy with the sales performance of the RPG in Japan, and they did not expect it. The company has announced through the Japanese media Automaton Media that the game has far exceeded sales forecast in that territory. They comment that it has sold 20 times more than they themselves expected on Switch. This is pretty unexpected news, as Biomutant was released in 2021 for the previous generation of consoles, and was not updated for modern consoles until 2022. The game also landed in a market that was not reached before, and THQ emphasizes that this performance is also due to the strong presence of Nintendo Switch in Japan. The game also appears in the sales rankings in various stores, so the representative of THQ Nordic Japan affirms that this version of the game has sold very well. Although the original estimate may have been low, the fact that it is selling 20 times faster than expected is a big surprise. Moving on, we have some news about an upcoming game called Kingmakers. Kingmakers is an upcoming action strategy sandbox game being developed by Redemption Road Games and published by TinyBuild. It has a new trailer showcasing this medieval warfare sandbox with firearms, and the footage highlights the incredible destruction physics in this highly anticipated game for Steam. There are many games using Unreal Engine, but Kingmakers, announced just 3 months ago for Steam, went viral immediately due to its spectacular technical aspect, as well as its wild concept. It's a medieval war game with battles featuring thousands of characters in real-time indestructible environments, but with firearms. In the first TinyBuild showcase, its creators, Redemption Road Games, released a new trailer demonstrating Kingmaker's destruction engine, and it looks absolutely amazing. You can destroy everything from small cabins to a huge castle, whether with firearms, explosions, or tanks. You can demolish everything in your path with real-time dynamic physics. The game features a real-time simulation system with thousands of soldiers, a breakthrough in next-generation AI that makes decisions for each unit, along with a procedural animation system to make everything seem chaotic yet natural. The Kingmakers trailers have whetted everyone's appetite, and everyone's eager to know more details about its release. Currently, we know that we will be able to play co-op, but not PvP. Lastly, for the news of this week is the Wuthering Waves release. Wuthering Waves is a free-to-play ARPG game being developed and published by the game company Kuro Games. It was released on May 23rd for various platforms, including Windows, macOS, Android, and iOS. It's a gacha game with an open-world aspect and has been compared to other titles like Genshin Impact. Originally announced in 2022, Wuthering Waves is a third-person action RPG, just like its main competitor Genshin Impact. Similar to the Hoyoverse title, Kuro Games' game will have a large open-world map, with some particular elements to facilitate exploration, such as grappling hooks or even the ability to run on walls. However, Wuthering Waves promises to place the greatest emphasis on its combat. There is a proper dodge mechanic, and each character has a unique flashy moveset. While characters will have certain elemental affinities, the mechanics do not revolve around combining these elements as in the Hoyoverse title. Instead, the strength of assembling different teams will lie in each character having unique abilities when entering and exiting combat. This means that the game's different characters that you get through the gacha system will be able to interact with each other regardless of their elements. The other major differentiator of Wuthering Waves is the ability to use the enemies we defeat in combat. In the game, we obtain different echoes, which function as abilities that allow us to summon certain enemies like stands. All in all, it looks fantastic, and you can clearly see the passion that they put into the combat. So that's about it for this week's news. If you're interested in supporting the channel, be sure to leave a comment, let us know what you think about all the news, and check out our VIP subscription on the website for some exclusive supporter benefits. We will be seeing you next week.